Greetings, everybody. My name is Rich Austin, and I have the honor of serving as the police chief for the city of Milton. And today I have with me one of my command staff members.
My name is Captain Jason Griffin. I'm the captain over the Uniform Patrol Division.
And thank you for joining us. This is our second edition of Facebook Live. We had some very good comments the last time we did this, so we wanted to utilize this as a way to continue to connect with our community. It's been a bit of a challenge during this time of pandemic, but even though we have had some challenges, we have been pretty active out in the community. Just recently we had a drive-through trunk or treat event, very safe way to engage with our citizens. We opened up the Sally Porch, kind of like a little garage next to our police station, and decorated it, and had some of our explorers out to give out candy. We gave out coloring books and junior police badges, and the candy bags had safety tips on them, so it was just a great event. We even had Captain Barstow out there in his Star Wars costume, and everyone just had a great time with that. So we thought maybe we might have 75 to 100 cars, and I think we had closer to 300. And full transparency, we had to go out and buy some more candy really quick and get it back over. So thank you to all those who participated in that event. We hope you had as much fun as we did with that. Also recently we had our DEA drug take-back event for prescription drugs, trying to get those out of circulation so that they can be properly disposed of. We recently had a virtual crime prevention meeting with one of our neighborhoods, and our community outreach officer, Officer Chad West, was in attendance at that meeting. And speaking of that, if you have any types of community meetings you would like for a police officer to attend, especially virtual meetings, we are more than happy to do that. Again, we want to continue to connect with our community, and we think that this is just an outstanding way to do that, even with the challenges that we have to stay safe. So if you are interested in having a police officer or myself attend a community meeting, please let us know at pdinfo@cityofmiltonga.us. I know that's a long email. We'll have that in the comment section for you. With that, we have some other exciting news. We are broadcasting from our brand new public safety building. I'm sure most of you have seen this in the news that we recently moved, and we are absolutely enjoying this brand new state-of-the-art facility. Even during the pandemic, we were able to come in on time and on budget. Our city architect, Bob Buscemi, just did an outstanding job in making this building come to life, and it's just been a great experience. It starts out with this lobby that you walk into, and it's very Milton-esque, a lot of wood trim, a lot of things that you will identify if you've ever been in City Hall, a lot of similar features to City Hall. Jason, why don't you tell us a little bit about the first floor?
Okay. The first floor, there's a brand new courtroom for all of our court services and our clerk of courts, administrative offices on one side of our lobby. On the other side of the lobby, each division in the police department has its own designated area in this building, which is a big plus to move that we gained by moving here. Because where we were before, we were all kind of on top of each other. So SASD, which is Support and Administrative Services Division, which is where the chief's office is, our crime analyst, community outreach officer, IT, a couple interns, as well as our CLIA certification manager. They have one area. Uniform Patrol has their own area where we have a really big roll call room that we can use for training as well. The roll call room is basically where the officers meet at the beginning of every shift and get their marching orders, if you will, from their shift supervisor.
That's what they say. Let's be careful out there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Showing my age here, a little reference to Hill Street Blues for.
And the Criminal Investigations Division has their own sectioned off with a door, which is a certification thing that they have to be behind a locked door outside of business hours. But we have a lot of space. It's great.
Space for growth.
A lot of space for growth, and we're very happy.
Yes. Thank you to our citizens, our elected officials, our fellow city staff that again help make this come to fruition. This is just an amazing facility, and we're going to be happy here and happy to share this with our community for many years to come. The one unique thing about this building is, as we were going through the process, we realized that we had an opportunity to build into the ground a basement area, which is where we are now. We're in our new emergency operations center, where we convene in any type of storm situation or other major event. And we can also use this room as flex space for training, and we have all of the technology in here that we need to handle any type of major event. And with Tropical Storm Zeta, it just got its first workout. So Captain Barstow, who kind of oversees our information services for the police department, was in at midnight setting the room up, and we trickled in about 4 o'clock in the morning to get ahead of the storm, and we're able to deploy resources in a very effective and efficient manner using our new technology and emergency operations center. Took away a few lessons learned as well, and we'll be making a few minor tweaks, but overall just an outstanding facility overall. So that's if you haven't had an opportunity, there's a virtual tour of our building on our Facebook page. So if you're interested, please check that out. And we look forward to a time when we're able to invite the community in for tours, youth groups and what have you, to be able to come in and take a look at our new facility. Some other things that have been going on out in the community. We have a newly formed group within the police department of a group of citizens called the Chiefs Advisory Board. During the recent nationwide conversations regarding police reform, we had quite a few questions from our community regarding how our local department operates. Very, very understandable. A lot of my colleagues across the country were getting the same questions. Very good questions regarding topics such as hiring and retention, officer wellness, de-escalation training, use of force policies, and others. And we had some very productive conversations, and we were able to utilize that time for some public education. We are a nationally accredited department that utilizes national best practices. We're also state certified as well. And we had some very good conversations, and out of that we were able to develop an FAQ page. So there is a lot of information on that page that I think that many citizens will find helpful. So if you have any questions about that or how we do business on a day-to-day basis in the department, please feel free to check out that page. We'll have that down in the comment section as well. But again, I want to talk a little bit about the Chiefs Advisory Board, because I had some folks that out of that conversation wanted to do more. They wanted to volunteer with the police department in some manner. And so after speaking with several folks and knowing about this idea from a few other agencies across the country, I decided to see what interest was out there to develop this Chiefs Advisory Board. These folks had already expressed an interest in our department, and so I started there, and I was able to find 8 citizens to serve on this board. And while the board serves in a strictly advisory capacity, their feedback is invaluable to me. The other night we had the small group in, and we talked about some policy changes in the police department and got feedback there. And they're also tasked with bringing me ideas and helping me to find ways that we can engage throughout the community and ensure that we're including a wide cross-section of our community. So thank you to those citizens who have volunteered to help me out with that board, and I'm really looking forward to the work that we have in helping maintain excellence within our police department. And I did have a question about whether or not there were any more openings on the board right now. With distancing and that, we're going to cap it, but there may be some other opportunities in the future, and I'll be talking a little bit more about that in the near future. Also, something that came about, and Captain Griffin could probably help me out with that. What is one of the number one complaints that we get in the police department from our citizens? What does that have to do with?
Typically speeding, for sure.
Yeah, traffic throughout our cities. Throughout our cities, we know we're a growing city, which is a good thing, but it also brings about some traffic challenges, and we realize that, and we have a very robust way that we handle traffic complaints, and they are tracked, and we ensure that the information gets out to our officers, and it does help quite a bit in managing these complaints as they come in, and we have finite resources, but we do everything that we can to help the traffic flow safely throughout our city. And actually, right now, traffic crashes are way down, and we know that's a bit artificial due to the lower volume of traffic with COVID. But traffic crashes are down, our injury crashes are down, our property damage crashes are down across the city. But we're not resting on our laurels with that. We are continuing to be proactive. And one of those ways that we're being proactive is through the implementation, or right now the planning stages of a local road safety plan. This is a very unique plan. It's based on a template from the Federal Highway Safety Administration, or the Federal Highway Administration. And this plan will be based on Milton's unique features and challenges. We are a very unique community. We have a lot of equestrian components. We have folks trying to navigate horse trailers onto and off of their property. We have farms. We have more developed, congested areas. And so this plan aims to reduce any negative effects that motor vehicles have on quality of life to the extent possible. In Milton, we want our citizens to have the highest quality of life possible. And we know that sometimes traffic and traffic issues can detract from that. So that's another goal of this plan. It will prioritize areas of the city with known or perceived traffic issues. And something else a bit unique about this is that citizen input will drive this process. So you are going to have opportunities in the very near future to weigh in through a survey, through multiple surveys, to help us gain an accurate picture of where all of the known or perceived traffic issues are and other concerns that our citizens may have, because we want this to be a very holistic and all-inclusive approach. So be on the lookout for that through our city webpage and our city social media very soon. And then only after we have your feedback, and this is, again, in conjunction with Public Works and our communications department, only then, when we have a good base of information and some data collection, will we look to bring in a consultant to help us do some further data evaluation and to develop this local road safety plan and get that implemented. Because we want everyone to be able to enjoy our roads. That includes motorists, bicyclists, pedestrians, and we just introduced golf carts or PTVs into the mix as well. So we just want to make sure that everyone can traverse our roads without fear. We've long known in criminal justice that even if we're reducing crime, if we're not reducing the fear of crime, then we've only done half of our job. So this will also, this local road safety plan will also address that fear that our citizens have, however they're using our roadways. So again, a very comprehensive project. There is some information online. We will put that into the comment section as well. You can see my presentation to council, which I just did on November the 9th, and we went over the plan in some detail. So if you're interested, please check that out. So, Captain Griffin, we are headed into the holidays, and we see some trends during the holidays. So can you talk a little bit about the trends that we typically see?
Sure thing. One of the major trends that we see are vehicle break-ins in some of the commercial establishment parking lots, as well as at people's residences. We have a program that's called Take, Lock, and Hide. It's take your valuables out of your car, lock your doors, or if you have to leave something of high value in your vehicle, to hide it so somebody walking by can't just peek in your window and see what's for the taking, if you will. Over 80% of our entering autos over the last 2 years were unlocked vehicles. So just locking your door makes a huge difference in reducing the amount of people being victimized. We also offer burglary vacation checks. If you're going to be out of town, you can go on our website and put in your address, any special details that the officers need to know, the date, time frame that you're going to be out of town, and the officers, when they're free in between calls, whatnot, will stop by and walk around your property and just make sure everything's good to go. Another big thing that we see is package thefts. It's probably going to be more rampant this year with most people not going out to stores and ordering a lot online due to COVID. So some things that you can do to mitigate this from happening is possibly getting a video doorbell, like a Ring doorbell or Arlo is what I have in my house.
Yeah, there are a lot of those out on the market now, I see.
There are, and it's a tool. It's a deterrent, and it's a tool for us. If you are victimized, it gives us obviously a video of what happened and gives our detective something to go on.
And someone might think twice, right? Before
absolutely.
taking a package if they see a Ring doorbell.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Another big thing we've been seeing a spike in are these phone scams where people are getting called by, whether it be the IRS or people claiming to be
The police department.
the police department. They've even masked our number so it shows up on your phone, Milton Police, even though it's not us calling. And they scare people into going to a store, a retail store, and buying Google Play cards, Green Dot cards, Apple iTunes cards for large amounts of money. Our police department had an initiative to reach out to a lot of our retail establishments, and they train their cashiers. So a lot of times when they see people coming through buying a large amount of one of these gift cards, they question them just to make sure they're not, getting scammed. But those are the four big things that we usually see happen a good bit going into the holiday season. So
those vacation checks especially, those can give you some peace of mind while you're out of town, and can be very helpful. And we'll let you know if anything is awry while you're gone. So hopefully it can help you enjoy your vacation a little bit more, knowing that your home is safe. And also, you mentioned those doorbell cameras. If you have brought to mind our Scram program, which you can also find out about online. We'll put that link in as well in the comment section. But you can actually register your security system with the police department if you have audio, video type system. And it doesn't give us access to any feeds or anything like that. It only lets us know where they're located. So let's say a theft happens, if we can see on our Scram map that there's a surveillance system at the neighbor across the street, then we may approach them and ask if they would check their feed for any suspicious activity. So if you're interested in getting registered with that program, please check that out in the comment section, and we'll have a link to that. And with that, we have a few minutes to answer. I understand we have some questions that came through. All right, got quite a number of questions, so we will take these for the amount of time that we can. And thank you for submitting questions. If there are any that we do not get to, we will ensure that we get those on our Facebook page and make sure that all questions are answered. So thank you again, and certainly if we don't get to them here on the live feed, please rest assured they will be answered. We're going to try to get those tomorrow at the latest on Monday, if you're watching this live. So question, are there plans to add a traffic light at Highway 9 near the new public safety complex? Right here, if you're not familiar, we're right near Cambridge High School, so it is kind of a congested area there. While that is understandable that that's a busy intersection and there's a fire station there, while there's no current plans that we're aware of for the Georgia Department of Transportation to put a light there, there is an active plan in the works to have emergency signals installed there. So when the fire apparatus is leaving the fire station to go on a call, that it will stop traffic in both directions to make for a much safer way for the fire trucks to get out. And there are in the future plans to widen Highway 9, so that may be reconsidered during that phase of that. So thank you for that question. Love to hear more about the selection process for new officers. The selection process for new officers is very stringent. We have a multi-step process that includes a stringent background investigation, polygraph investigation, physical test, and psychological test, both written, and the prospective officer also sits down with a doctoral level psychologist and who specializes in these types of exams for law enforcement. And And there are a few other steps. Again, that's on the FAQ page. And so there's quite a bit more detail there, but it's a very stringent process. It's not easy to become a Milton police officer. And even after hire, there's a very stringent field training program, as well as the officer being on probation for a year. So if anytime we detect any issues, certainly we address those right away, which is very rare. By the time we get through this stringent process, most officers are ready to serve their community. So again, the FAQ page for more information on that. And someone else says, what incentives are there to retain good officers? Well, I talked about our brand new building. That's certainly a draw. And we are very thankful that our city provides our officers with the best equipment available, best safety equipment. We have body-worn cameras. Our fleet is maintained very well. Again, the state-of-the-art building here has a lot of technology and a state-of-the-art technology that helps us to do our job. We have great benefits, and Milton's just a great place to work. The entire city is a great place to work. Just the culture here, and of course, the citizens really are encouraging and supportive of law enforcement. So all of these things are great incentives for our officers to stay with us. Okay, good question here. A couple of folks asked how we would, what would happen if we had civil unrest in Milton. Of course, this has been a national conversation as we've seen some civil unrest involved in areas across the country. We're very fortunate that this has not been a problem in Milton. But as with many things in Milton that we hope never happen, we have to be prepared. So we do, if civil unrest were to occur, the officers would arrive, the street officers, and the first goal would be to de-escalate. We're always, of course, going and wanting to balance First Amendment rights and public safety. So to de-escalate any kind of violence and to hopefully get that worked out. But if it escalates to a point past that where we need extra resources, we do have reciprocal agreements with other agencies, and we have officers that are specially trained in those types of situations. So again, this has not been a problem. We have no information that this will be a problem in Milton. But again, like many things, we have to be prepared, and we certainly are, should that occur. Captain Griffin, I'll let you handle this one. What should we do if we see a person experiencing some type of mental crisis?
So this is a very good question. We get a lot of calls. Uniform Patrol will get a lot of calls from concerned citizens. Maybe somebody's acting erratically in public, or walking up and down the street, talking to themselves, or just acting enough to bring their attention to call.
To bring some concern.
Absolutely. So what I would recommend, if there's something that you believe is going to turn criminal, I would call 911. If you would like our officers to go out and just check on somebody, we call it a welfare check. You can call the non-emergency number, which is 678-297-6300. And then you hit option 1, and you'll get an operator, and they can send an officer out. Our officers are equipped with multiple resources, mental health resources, contacts they can call, shelters they can call. We do a lot, and they will go the extra mile and not make the person feel alienated.
Right, and I think what we want our citizens to know is we go in with an attitude to help the situation and to try to connect that person to services if they so desire, if they're amenable to that. So, and we have officers that, or most of our officers are trained in dealing with mental crisis and folks that are experiencing these types of situations, and they can utilize that training, and again, to try to connect that person to appropriate services. And this kind of spins off to another question that assistant asked me recently: when do we call 911 as opposed to the non-emergency line? And we'll put that non-emergency number up in the comment section. If you feel like that a situation is volatile, or someone may get physically injured, certainly that is a time to call 911. Any type of situation, like with we had trees down all over the city. A citizen told me about was just outside of our city, but a power line hanging down across the road with traffic signals wrapped around it. Things like that certainly calls to 911. And the big thing with 911 is that sometimes if there are a couple of callers ahead, they'll ask you not to hang up, and that puts you in queue. If you hang up and call back, that puts you at the end of the queue. So that's pretty rare, and in situations where there are a lot of calls coming in at one time. But just if you could be patient, I know it feels like that you're on the phone forever, especially if you have a pending situation. But we ask that if you have called 911, just to stay on and talk to an operator, and we'll get officers to you as quickly as possible. All right, and I think that's all of the questions that we have time for this evening. Again, if there are others, we will get those posted up for you within the next couple of days. And I just really want to thank you for taking this time for our second edition of Facebook Live. We hope that you have found this time well spent. We certainly enjoy engaging with our community. We look forward to a time when we can ramp back up community engagement activities at a greater scale. But until then, if there's anything that your police department can do for you, please certainly reach out to us. We're here for you. Thank you.